What's up, guys? If you happen to follow me on Instagram, then you probably know that I just returned from a week-long personal retreat in Aspen. And while I was there, I was posting typical vacation-style photos, along with photos of me and John doing work. And as the week went on, I started getting comments from people asking why I was doing work while I was on vacation. Eventually it hit me, oh, I don't think people understand what I mean when I say I'm on a personal retreat. So I thought I would, for the first time ever, actually write a definition for that. So here's what I wrote. A personal retreat is a time to deliberately design our life and ensure our businesses are serving us at a level that allows us to live the life that we choose. Thought that was pretty good. And so while this is all fresh on my mind, I thought I'd talk about why a personal retreat, why the concept of that is so important to us and how we make it happen. So first, the whys, and number one on that list is that we get a chance to escape from our daily routine. For us, we get to reconnect as a couple without all of the distractions of the clients and the dogs and the errands and all the things that come along with daily life. And essentially what that does when you reconnect in a foreign environment is it creates the space for you to talk. The next on the why list is that we get to gain inspiration from new surroundings and new people and new experiences. So we had never been to Aspen before. Literally everything was new to us, and we were there 1 week before high season hit, I think just by dumb luck. So we got to talk to mostly the local people, and they were very friendly, and they weren't stressed yet with all the tourists, and so they were spending time with us. We got to have deeper conversations than I think we normally would. Last on the why is that it can challenge long-held limiting beliefs. So for those of us who are self-employed, it's very easy to get to a place where you think, all right, if I'm not in my business working day to day, earning money, bringing in commissions, then I can't spend any. And this usually happens with people who are newer in the business. If you have a mature business, maybe this is not so much on your mind, but especially folks who are newer to being self-employed, it's not always easy to disconnect and go allow yourself to enjoy spending a little bit of money and having a good time, and trusting that you'll be able to re-engage with your business when you get back. Okay, now here's how we would run our day. So the first thing that we would do is we'd find a city that requires airplane travel, like getting in a car where you could freak out and come back if you had to, and that's not really in the spirit of a personal retreat. And then when we're there, we run our day like usual, which means we don't really sleep in. We both are up by 5 o'clock just naturally, so we kept getting up by 5 o'clock. And once we got up, guess what we did? Feed our mindset. We would start our day by walking into Aspen, which is about a 3-mile walk into the center of town, and starting our new experience. And so this is not an exhaustive list, but some of the things that stood out were one morning we did mega former Pilates, which I'd never done any Pilates before, but this apparently is a newer trend within the Pilates world, and I've got this massive contraption that I'm standing on, and everything moves, you guys. So like, I'm familiar with weightlifting and stuff like that, but like when you start strapping your body up to these cables and stuff, and then like the machine moves on you, it was unstable, unfamiliar, and uncomfortable. I can promise you that. The next thing was whitewater rafting. Oh my God. So this is not like, if you live in Central Texas where I live, this is not like jumping into Lake Travis in the winter. Okay, even in the winter it would be better. This is like the snow that's in this river. The water was just snow like an hour ago. So when I say it's cold, I'm telling you it is super, super cold. And because I'm like the quote unquote fit guy, they stuck me in the front of the boat, which means that when the raft hits the rapids, guess who gets all the water in their face? It was me. And so here I am signing a waiver that made me uncomfortable, because basically when I signed my name, it's like, well, look, if you fall in the water and die, well, too bad. And like when you look at the water, you're thinking, if I fell into that, like I could die. I'm not an experienced rafter. This is my first time. And so imagine in that environment, you hit the rapids, the ice cold water splashes in your face, and all you're trying to do is just, can I breathe? Like I need to catch my breath and simultaneously not fall into the water. It was a bit of a mess. It was fun, but man, it was super challenging. The other thing that stood out was rock climbing. It was beautiful and exhilarating and terrifying at the same time, and you had to trust yourself. This might sound weird, but you had to trust the mountain. You had to trust your guide. There was a lot of trust that needed to be relied upon in a situation where there was literally no time to build trust. Like, not only was the experience new, but we had just met the guide who I was trusting with my life a few minutes earlier before I'm at the top of this mountain climb, and he says, okay, let go of the rock, just grab your rope, and here's the thing, lean back off of the rock and I'll make sure that you don't fall. That was not an easy thing to do the first time, but I did it, and John did it, and it was exhilarating, and oh my gosh, it was the best thing ever. And then we would sit down and we would start working, because all that new experience just forces your mind to open wide and have access to creative juices that you just maybe don't have access to on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so then we're sitting there, and because we're not meeting with clients, we get to help each other give feedback and brainstorm and work deeply on each other's work projects in a way that we never get to do at home. And so after that, usually we would go back into town. It's about 3 or 4 at this point. John would have his old fashioned, and of course I'd have plenty of sparkling wine. And we literally would just sit there and get bored, and sometimes just stare at each other in silence or people watch. And it was amazing. You guys, creativity comes from boredom. Isn't that what John said earlier? Creativity comes from boredom, not stimulation. That's one of the whys. And, you know, eventually what happens is you start having conversations that are fascinating as a couple that you would never have if, again, you were stuck in your day-to-day routine. Okay, so from there, after we were done being bored, it was either go back and get ready to come back into town in a new outfit for a nice dinner, which we did a couple times, or go home and cook, and then maybe lay on the couch and watch, there's this cool show we watched while we were out there called Dead to Me on Netflix. And Christina Applegate, the lead character, she's a realtor. So most of you watching this are gonna love that show, I promise. Just go watch it, okay? And so then we would be in bed by 10 o'clock and we would do it all over again the next day. Well, if you were watching on Instagram last week, then I hope that put some context around the variety of photos that you saw. And before you go, do me a favor, scroll down, hit the like button, and leave a comment. Has this video inspired you to do your own personal retreat? I'd love to hear what you do, because maybe together we can come up with like the formula for the perfect personal retreat. Wouldn't that be cool? Anyway, you guys, thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. As always, my name is Jason Edwards, and let's go think bigger.